Everybody here has an A.
Welcome back, Inebri-arts. This is Andy, the Inebri-art podcast, and I am still recording from my COVID-19 bug-out shelter. And I am once again going to talk to people in LA. It seems like that's a running theme. And I have Amber and Alex from Broken Baby joining the show.
Hey, how's it going?
So, you guys obviously live together because we were just talking about quarantining.
Yeah.
How is it living with a bandmate? Is that do you have to consciously stop and be like, okay, we're not talking about work?
Oh, that's funny. Because we are constantly doing work because we also, do work for a record label as well. We're just working all the time together in some aspect, but at the same time, we have our own quarters that we can go to if one is annoying the other. Actually, yesterday I made Alex take a day off.
Yeah.
I forced him out of the house and into the yard to read a book.
Yeah, I could just see that being because I have a hard time not working as it is, and if just living with someone that you work so closely with, I could see that just being the topic of every conversation, or the moment you sit down and watch TV, you have to be like, oh, just one other thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. That's every day for sure. It does, but I guess we kind of we feel comfortable working that way. I guess it's always in our brain.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people work better together than others. I mean, I think that when we write for Broken Baby and get the songs together and stuff, I think we kind of know what our roles are, so we don't step on each other's toes. It's all pretty fluid as far as like who can say and do what. And I'm more on the production side, so I don't know as much about like what's going on in Amber's head, like as far as concepts of songs all the time.
Me neither.
So so there's no like, I don't know. I guess my point is that like she can say something like, it just sounds too fluffy, and I'll just have to figure out what that means. And I'll say something like, I don't know, it just doesn't sound like tough enough. She'll just have to figure out what that means. And somewhere in the middle we meet.
Yeah. It's nice when you can kind of talk in that creative shorthand. And you kind of mumble your way through something, go, does that make any sense? And the other person's like, no, I get it.
That's true.
So the one thing that we've been interviewing so many musicians, and I hate asking like, oh, what can our listener, like, what kind of music do you play? So our listeners kind of know, but there has to be like some way to kind of describe, because I don't feel like there's genres like there used to be. There used to be like rock, country, rap. So the question I've been asking everybody is, what well-known act would you tour with that would make sense?
My choice would be Yeah, Yeah, Yes.
Okay.
And yours would be like the Jesus Lizard.
I was going to say, you want to guess?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Am I right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Fuck yeah. That'd be a rad, if it was just like, yeah, yes, Jesus Lizard.
And Broken Baby.
And us.
Yeah.
Do you guys get to tour much?
We were.
We had a tour scheduled for...
Well, we toured in January.
Yeah, and then we had another one planned for end of May. Oh. Mm-hmm. I think we'd be out already.
Like right now,
yeah, right now.
And that got squashed. But we had done our own little going to New York from time to time, and then going down to Texas and doing these like one-offs and everything, and then scheduled a pretty great a West Coast tour, Southwest tour in January. So we were just kind of starting to like, spread our wings, and then the fall we were planning on going on the East Coast. So
oh, nice.
Yeah,
it's a great place.
Yeah.
So, how long has Broken Baby been around? I mean, have you not done that much touring, or?
We started playing shows in February of 2019.
Oh, so it's a relatively
18. What year is it?
It's 2020.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that would make sense. 2018, February 2018.
And the first thing we released came out in August of 2017. So it depends on how you...
So you're still relatively new, yeah.
Yeah. So it is relatively new, for sure.
Yeah. Were you guys in a band together before, or is completely new venture?
I was in a bunch of bands for a long time, and Amber was in another band or two, but I toured for years in this band called the Damwells, which is like an East Coast alternative rock kind of Americana band.
Yeah.
And that was like 16 years. That took up a pretty sizable portion of my youth. And then during that time, I produced records for other people and kind of played in a couple other like little things here and there. I made a couple solo records, and Amber came on tour as one of the backup singers, actually. We got to talking about doing another thing after this solo tour was done, because it was kind of like, I don't know, it was like the writing was on the wall. This was not going to be something that was going to be economically sustainable for me. And also just seemed like, I don't know, I was just over it. So we came back and put all that angst into some new stuff, and Broken Baby was born.
Yeah, an EP in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we didn't do anything with it for like 5 months. We just put it out. And then we're like, oh, we should probably like play shows. Maybe.
Yeah. Then we made a record. And then we started making a bunch of other recordings in 2019, which we put out.
Yeah.
And then we finished a record like right before that tour was going to start. We had just finished the record, and we decided we were going to release like some of the songs as an EP, and then do the tour, which was going to promote the single, which is coming out
June 2nd.
June 2nd, and then everything got shifted around. So now we're just releasing the single.
Yeah. We've talked to so many people who are either on tour, just about to release a CD, and have a tour to support the CD, and it's become such a weird time where some people are like, oh, we're going to hold off on putting it out. Other people are like, we're putting it out just because people just need content of any kind.
Yeah.
How are you guys filling your time? Are you guys writing during this, even though you just have this new EP? But
I know. We finished the whole record.
Yeah,
so.
our record is
I'm sorry.
done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the record is done. It's mixed and mastered, isn't it? It's all complete. And then, so we're not really writing any Broken Baby songs at this time. I'm like planting a farm in the backyard, and Alex is writing some solo stuff.
But I'm also like doing a bunch of other remote production stuff.
Yeah, producing other people's songs.
Yeah, nothing here is very glamorous. Is the short answer right now.
Nothing anywhere is glamorous. I mean, it's just trying to.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You look on Instagram and like some of the celebrities and stuff. It makes me sick to my stomach. Like, here I am in my quarantine, and it's like, yeah, cool. You have like
they built themselves a pool.
Yeah, you have a pool, and you have like it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like very early on we dipped out of trying to make it look pretty.
Yeah.
We did a bunch of like these live from quote unquote live from quarantine videos where everybody kind of recorded their parts remotely, and we mixed it together here at the studio, which is in our house.
Yeah, we have 4 of the live-ish videos out. Yeah.
But beyond that, we're just trying to stay busy. We're trying to keep our jobs, as because we both work for this record label, and we both run our own record label, and so we're just trying to keep busy so that we don't run out of money.
Yeah, I mean that's no joke. I mean it's a crazy time. I'm actually furloughed from my job,
Wow,
which is kind of the best case scenario, opposed to losing it entirely.
That is true.
Because I still have health insurance through them, and so it's
not like great. Cobra or anything. The health insurance, it's just everything's still going.
Yeah, when they furloughed us, our company is really, really good. They really take care of their people. And he's like, you're furloughed, you're not getting paid, you're not laid off. So if you come back, you basically still have all your seniority, your vacation time, etc.
That's great.
And he's like, and I'm going to cover your insurance. So
that's awesome.
Oh, congratulations, man.
I would rather be at work.
We all would.
The downtime just is not my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is that I think, I mean, when it first started, everyone was like, "This is a great time to like learn yoga or meditate or get a new skill." And I think a lot of us already have plenty of skills. I think that this is like it's a very anxious time for a lot of people because there's not a lot that you can really do in a vacuum. It's like, unless you can do everything that remotely, then you're kind of just screwed. I mean, what do chefs do? What do bus drivers do? What do, it's just, it's tough. And I think that, I don't know, we're all just trying to manage.
Yeah. Keep our sanity a bit.
Yeah.
I think we're doing it.
Even the learning something new. It's like, what can I learn new that I already have the stuff for? Because I can't really go out.
Right.
Exactly.
Let me go out and spend like a couple $100 on something that I then have to learn.
Yeah.
Right. Although I used to play guitar when I was a kid, and I was kind of like, it might have been nice to have a guitar right about now, but.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, I think that part of it is true. Like, part of it is cool. Like, people are reading more and trying to do more stuff, but
picking up their guitar. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is actually really beautiful. But I just feel like, I don't know, some of us, want to get back to work.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, my favorite thing to do is collaborate with people and work with people in the community. And it's just not a thing now. But you said you're still producing other people's music, so I'm assuming you have some sort of at-home studio at least. Yeah.
And I've been producing and engineering for a long time, so it's it is something that I know how to do. So yeah, it's been hugely helpful doing some remote production for people, and I am extraordinarily thankful for that income, and it's awesome, and it's actually really enjoyable to like get out of your own world, because I mean, Amber and I have been so deep in the Broken Baby world. I mean, it's almost like we forget how much of Broken Baby occupied our lives.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was it was running the record label, and it was either writing, recording, mixing, or booking or whatever with Broken Baby, and now it's like trying to figure out what comes next for Broken Baby in this, uncertain
scenario.
time.
Yeah.
And then it's, trying to like do other things. So it's been nice to kind of like take a bit of a break and dig into other people's stuff.
Yeah, it is nice.
So you guys kind of, I feel like, are probably kindred spirits because you have a band and a record label. I mean, I'm the kind of person to be like, oh, let's have a podcast or 3, or I have, let's shoot some video. And what possessed you to start a record label and a band? Like, that seems like 2 full-time things.
That's true. Well, the bands have already been there in a way. Alex is he's always been in bands. And actually, you might want to tell the part about the record label. I mean, it is the perfect job for you.
But what's the name of the record label? Let's start with that.
Poor Man Records.
Poor Man Records, okay.
Yeah. So that started as a little like imprint label that damn Wells released stuff on. So whenever we were on another label, it would be like a JV with them and us, just because it was like the easiest way to keep track of, when we were retaining the rights to the masters and when we were selling them and stuff like that. So it just kind of morphed into like this other record label when I started working for as the general manager of a larger label called Palo Santo Records, which is based in Dallas. That's run by my good friend Salim Nuralla and Sarah Henry, or owned by them. And they asked me if I would come on and help them with some releases as like a general manager. And then I was like, no, I don't want to do that. That sounds terrible. And then,
which is why he took the job.
Yeah. But then Salim convinced me, and, he was right. He was like, I think this is going to be really cool. And I think it's going to be, like, we're not going to be a typical record label. We're going to be, like trying to help people that we think make great music. And, I think all the things that people tell you when they say either they want you to work for their label, they want to sign you to their label, but Palo Santo really stuck to its guns. And so from that, part of the deal was that I also get to release, or Amber and I get to release, Broken Baby stuff via our Poor Man Records label, and then we also get to release bands from our Poor Man Records label. So it's like the Palo Santo Music Group, of which I'm the general manager, and then there's Poor Man Records, Palo Santo Records, and then Hit Records, 3 like subsidiary labels under which we put out all our stuff.
So I think generally when, Joe Average thinks of record labels, they think of like, the big, epic. Now I'm trying to remember.
Like Matador.
Yeah, like the huge Casablanca record, like all the record labels that have notoriously taken advantage of musicians. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, we love doing that.
I mean, we're trying to take advantage of as many artists as we can.
I mean, are those record labels still like the big? I wasn't implying that you were. That was
no. I know. We just want to be put in that category.
Yeah.
I mean, labels are still sleazy. Still, like they got to make money somehow, right?
Yeah.
Owning masters that maybe they shouldn't own or whatever. But I think like the smaller, I don't know. There's been bands that we know that have been on, slightly bigger labels than Palo Santo, and they're like, "Fuck this label. They're not fair," or but it's business. Like music business is just as dirty as like thinking about entertainment in general. Just that business is people just want to make money,
right?
So people get taken advantage of.
They're the business end, and business and creative is a hard line to walk, I think.
Yeah,
but it shouldn't be. I mean,
yeah,
in this day and age, like I don't know, unless you're living under a rock, like if you start a band and you don't have any type of skill beyond just playing songs and writing, and playing shows, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be able to, like, at the very least, like, know a little bit about, iMovie, because we are content creators now. Yeah, exactly. Which is like, as much as that's lame, I mean, someone was always creating content for bands.
Right.
It's just that the bands have to do it themselves mostly. And for some reason, that's not cool. And like, I guess I get it, but wouldn't you, like, I don't know, remember back in the day when bands were signing to labels and they're like, I want to have full artistic control. Well, bands, now you have it.
Now you do. Careful what you ask for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So when you guys are writing music, do you kind of think about which songs you be like, oh, this song is good for a video and I have an idea for a video? Like, so as you're writing, are you already kind of like thinking that far in advance of like what other content is coming with it?
For songs, I dread the day that I have to think of a video idea. Because I'm like, oh, damn, that's just another thing I have to think about. But I think the video always comes last, like or aesthetics that go with that video. We just think of the song first and have fun with that, because that's hard enough. And then, a month down the road, we're like, if we want to release this song, then we got to think of single art.
It's always a sprint to the finish line.
Yeah, and you're like, oh shit, we have 1 week to put a single art together and a video. Fuck.
Yeah.
Who do we know? Yeah.
Well, that's always, a who do you know kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I have learned that my real skill is not being a visual artist. Mine is networking. So I become like the one where people be like, hey, like I just got hit the other day. Someone wants a mural done. They're like, oh, who do you know? And, I think it's New Bedford. And so then I have to try and figure out, it's like I somehow become like management. It's like, okay, so what's your budget like? And they say, and I'm like, oh, that's really low. And then
always.
So that always becomes the trick. But so I think that's how I ended up where I am, in talking with people. And I was a very shy kid, but I played in band and theater and always felt far more comfortable on stage. Do you guys have a similar thing? Like,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like most people prefer to be on stage, but like, does it?
Yeah, I would prefer to be on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to do the business part.
Yeah.
But I also am really good. I'm really good at organizing things, I think. I like that aspect of the business side of things. But when it comes with either money, it makes me want to vomit. Alex is really good at that kind of stuff. You've got a business brain. Networking, are we good at networking at all?
I think we try.
I think we try really hard to be good at networking, because you say like networking is a skill of yours. It's
can we hire you?
Yeah.
Sure.
Come on board. it's like something that you fall into, I think. I don't know if, I've tried so hard to be good at it, but I don't know.
It's a very weird thing because it's definitely something you fall into, not so much as hey, I'm going to be like the guy that knows guys. But then start talking to someone and they're like, I need llamas. And you're like, oh, I got a llama guy. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I got a llama guy. Not a problem. And so it's this weird. I think it's just been between the events we run and the podcasts that we have that we've been so well connected and well received that it's just been kind of like you just start accruing these connections and been like, oh, I got someone who can take care of that for you. Except for an auto mechanic. Awesome. I don't have an auto mechanic, so that my car's in the shop today. So that's the guy to get. But
I remember when I was, like when I first started playing in bands and like playing in bands that were like, playing shows and stuff, and we got a manager, and the manager was our networker. That's all that they were doing. They weren't right. The manager. Early,
that's a good manager.
It's a great manager, and he was great. And he was like also had like a little like recording rig, so we could record demos on it. And he basically found us like a booking agent, found us a record deal. I thought that that's what managers do, but I think now.
What do managers do?
I don't know. Now I'm sure they still kind of do that, but
a good manager is supposed to do that. But I think there's a lot of managers that are like, I have some ideas for you, and then that's it.
And then usually they say, wait and don't do anything for a while I figure out the master plan. And then while they're twiddling their thumbs figuring out their quote unquote master plan, the band is dying on the vine.
Yeah, that's true.
As a guy who runs a record label, I hate managers.
Yeah. Well, I think that the way to do things now is do it now. Get it out now. Don't wait. Everyone's so into content, and it's the life of content is so short that it's
right.
Get it out and get it out on a regular basis. So that's the way I try to do things.
That's true. And our attention span is so short now that if you put out something that you're like, I really probably shouldn't have put that out, that's like embarrassing, people will forget about it.
Oh, in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. It's over. Gone. So throw spaghetti up against the wall is like, it's actually a really good time to do that.
And it's just hard. I think, for me, it's hard because we work really hard on getting things right.
Yeah.
It's like part. From a distance, it just looks like, like ants kind of running around. But when you get up close to it, it's like, there's so many little adjustments and moves and like, and in the studio, we're like, what if we went like this with the vocal, or maybe the guitar should be like that. And then we're re-recording, and then there's one song on our album, which is, what's an album? But there's one song that we wrote that we were going to put on the album called Madonna's a Dick, and we had recorded 7 different versions of it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so many versions. At one point, I was like, I don't like this song anymore, and now it's my favorite song. Yeah.
But it's like, so. I guess my point is that it's hard to just be like, just put it out. Because we put so much effort into it. There's so much work involved that it just feels like, well, if we're going to put it out, it should be at the right time. Get the right team together. We should be on a tour and see if we can get a booking agent. And it's like, then you're right, though. You just wind up dying on the vine because you're like, you're waiting to not put something out that should be out,
But like anything, there's a balance of that, like holding on to both sides of that anxiety, I guess, because that's how I feel like it's always like, I have like the reins on this uncontrollable horse, and sometimes it can gallop and do really beautiful jumps and stuff, and on other times I can get like bucked off. So it's like holding that, like, because you could go nuts about perfect timing because the idea, like, yes, we're holding this beautiful thing that we created, supposedly beautiful thing or whatever, but like to put it out is to not make it so precious, and be sporadic and just, it's hard to find.
To quote 38 Special, hold on loosely.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where like you slave away on it, and I always tell people, like, they'll be like, hey, can you do this drawing or this project or whatever, and I'll be like, when's it need to be done? And they go, oh, whenever. I go, no, I can't do it. Because I know without a deadline, it's not going to happen. So I find that deadlines are the perfect, I can fret over it for so long, but at some point, deadline's a deadline. It's going to go out whether it's complete or not. And
yeah, I like a deadline. That's good.
Yeah. There's projects from like 8 years ago that someone's like, hey, can you, draw me or paint me, whatever. And I'm like, sure. And it's still not done because there's no reason
they never
to
gave
do
you
it.
A deadline.
Yeah. So it's,
yeah,
it's
tough.
But, so do you guys try to schedule things so that you do have a deadline? Kind of like, this is going to be the release date?
Well, we scheduled things like we scheduled the album to be finished by the end of last year. So at the end of December, we worked through Christmas and finished it.
Yeah.
Then we didn't have a release date because I sort of leave that up to, I don't know, we kind of just try to figure out like, okay, who's going to do what? And is there something that we can kind of do around the release of this, whether it be a tour or whatever? And so
that's actually why we held off on releasing Manic Panic and what was maybe supposed to be an EP. That Manic Panic is the song coming out Tuesday. We held off on that because we're like, oh, good. We can schedule a tour around it and like build up and do these things. And that's why it does feel funny that we waited so long, because normally we put out things like every couple of months.
Yeah.
We waited 6 months to put out a song. That's just way too long.
And so where you guys had 7 versions of Madonna's a Dick, is that the name of the song?
Yeah.
How did you pick which one? Like, what was the determining factor?
The last one.
Yeah, it was just like, I wasn't really happy with the way it was sounding. And we had a little bit of not a tiff about it, but we're like, no, it's good. And I was like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like right. And so we just brought it back into and redid basically the whole thing over again, which is kind of hard for me to do because I can't like wrap my head around a different melody if it's stuck in my head for 6 months.
Yeah.
But we had to like wiggle out of that. And then, I don't know, it just, whatever you started, you played some new riff and it was like, that's it. We could just change the lyrics around a little bit, but kind of keep this the same and like shove it into this form. And then it was like, it just kind of like was this aha moment. Eureka. It's it.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
So, you said tiff. I like creative heated debate. Do you have those a lot? Because I feel like I wouldn't say a lot, but they're very useful. I think if you can keep it from being a personal, like if you can segregate that business part of your band part of your brain
personal.
And keep it.
Yeah, we have
we have tiffs and they're personal.
Yeah, it's usually personal from me. I take things personally, not gonna lie. But Alex like works because he's been doing this for so long, and I'm kind of new at it, really, newish, especially for you or your years and my years. But Alex just works really hard. He's very focused. He's the guy that like sits in his seat and doesn't stop until it's done. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, let's just, you know what? I got to go do the laundry. I have to go wash some dishes. I'm just really unfocused. So a lot of times it's him like reining me in to just sit down and fucking finish the verse already, And I'm just like, I can't think of anything. I need creativity. I need to walk around or something. He's like, sit down,
But
or he'll do something and I don't like it. And I'm like, I just don't like this. And he's like, I've been working on this for fucking 3 days and you don't like it.
Yeah, that's
it.
But I mean, I think too that, look, we have 2 very different ways of working. Both of them, yield, I think, like.
Mine is not working.
No, they both work. It's like, for me, it's actually been really challenging to learn how to like step away from it for a minute and like, why don't you just let Amber like kind of think about it for a minute? And because I'm just like, I would rather just sit there and get it done because I don't really like doing it. I mean, it's kind of weird. I guess I like doing it. I like the moments when it's working, but when it's not working, it's really brutal. It's like playing a bad show. I mean, playing one good show.
Not that we've ever done that.
But playing a good show is like, I mean, it's like the greatest thing ever. Playing a bad show is like the worst thing ever times a million. It's so much more extreme emotion than playing a good show, you know? Like it just seems that it's like a bottomless pit of despair. Whereas playing a great show is like, yeah, that was great. But it's like, that's a familiar feeling. And in the studio, you're like, oh, fuck, yeah, this is great. But when it's not going anywhere, it just seems to drill deeper and deeper into just despair, you know? So it gets frustrating.
Is it kind of like that old poker adage where they don't remember their big wins, but they remember every big loss? So do you kind of
Absolutely.
think that those bad moments like really stick with you like way too much?
Oh, yeah. I mean, do for me. Do they for you ever?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Losses and defeat, you know, like bear the scars. You know what I mean? Victories, you know, penance fade.
So you said Amber's really gotten you to kind of learn to kind of step back. Do you find that when you do that, sometimes inspiration will strike kind of out of the blue?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I always have felt like inspiration is a bit of a novelty item that you can't rely on. Discipline is something that you can rely on. So I try to, I feel pretty strongly about this, that you can't wait for the muse. You have to like create the environment in which you can drag the muse into.
Okay.
So I feel like having to work in Amber's way, which is to step back and let the muse kind of come to you. You know, it's frustrating because I'm not very patient, but it has yielded some outstanding results. Like, for example,
Madonna's a dick.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the final version of that is like 100 times better than whatever we had decided it was going to be before that, and that wouldn't have happened if Amber hadn't been like, you know what, let's just like put this away for a while and work on something else. And I was like, no, this is done. We need to finish it.
Yeah.
You know?
I very much am the kind of person that has multiple things going on. So when I get bored or blocked with one, I can go and jump on something else. But
that's nice.
I really do think that, I like how you said, kind of, going out and finding the muse and making her work, because it's like, I feel like I say inspiration, but I feel all creativity is like a muscle. Like the more you use it, the better you get at it. So you can kind of fall into the trap of not using it. And
absolutely,
I kind of feel the same way about talent. I feel like talent is what people who've not learned how to do something describe other people.
Oh my God, that's like
just talking about
right out of my brain. I mean, I absolutely don't believe in talent. Yeah. I think talent is an invention of like the layman to explain the phenomenon. Right. You know, it's like that, but you know, you got to be kidding me if you think that Aretha Franklin didn't like, you know, work her ass off to make sure that she could sing in tune and with
for as long as she does.
Yeah, I mean, you know? I just think all of that is
like an athlete.
I mean, I certainly believe that some people are born with a better, you know, I don't know, or born into like environments that enrich certain kinds of, you know, things, like whether it be, I don't know, you know, woodworking or singing or, you know, whatever. You know, I'm not very good at like swinging a hammer, but you know, that's because I
hope not, because you're not supposed to swing the hammer. You're supposed to swing the axe.
I don't even know that.
No.
But I know that people who grew up in families that were, you know, crafts oriented, or people who did construction, or people or artists or sculptors, that they just know about stuff, and they're instinctual about like the way that, you know, a roof beam should be, you know, whatever you do with roof beams, and you know, but I don't think that I think that talent is I think talent is a lie. Yeah. You know, I think hard work is like the thing that determines, I don't know, that determines whether or not anything gets made. Yeah. You know?
Right. And I think hard work is one of the most important parts of talent, because I've seen people that can draw beautifully, but they do nothing with it because they don't have any kind of work ethic, or, you know, they kind of do someday is never going to happen.
Yeah. Right.
Someday is not a deadline. Yeah. Someday is not.
Someday is not a deadline.
I really like
Yeah,
that.
I mean-
I need a t-shirt now.
Yeah,
I know.
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we have, the bands on our label too. We're very hands off with them. They have to come. I mean, if we hear something and we like it, that's just a tiny, actually, it's the smallest part of the equation.
Yeah.
Having a great song is, that's great. But having a great song and being able to play a show and being able to like stay up to date on your social media, being able to connect with fans, being able to market yourself, being confident, being unafraid, those are all things that are hugely important in being able to take what you make to a broader audience, which, I think we'd all be fooling ourselves if we don't actually think that that's what we're doing here.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we just don't, I think as a label, we just, like if we like something, we'll reach out to them and say, hey, this is really cool. What else is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And when they write back and they're like, here's what's going on. It's like, okay,
Yes.
there's something like this can work.
Yeah.
But when they write back and they're like, oh, I don't know. I just, I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
My time is too important to me to waste on someone who doesn't value the importance of their own
what they're
work.
doing, because no one else is going to care unless they do.
So really, if you break it down, talent is really useless. Having one good song or even a great record is useless if you're not going to be able to find a way to to promote it, to get it to people's ears. I mean, I know that all those words are like kind of like, oh, promotion, self-promotion, marketing. I mean,
it's
like
imperative though.
Yeah, I mean, it's like who plays football without a ball?
Or a helmet. Well, that's not true.
Well,
yeah.
But yeah, and it's also like they're going through that problem right now. Is they want to bring sports back, but they're even like, well, without the fans, why are we doing this? How are we going to get the fans involved? Because it's just as that's just one other facet. If there's no people there to respond to the coolness that's going on, so it's I think a lot of people just have that cursory glance at like, oh, look at X band, they're so great, they're so lucky, and just don't ever stop to think about the sacrifice and the work that goes into it. One of my favorite bits of advice, and I can't remember the exact context or who even gave it, but it was one of those like, oh, what advice would you give some young person just getting started off? And they said, don't do it.
Yeah.
And the person kind of looked confused and like, because if me saying don't do it is going to actually stop you, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so good.
Because the pressures of the artistic world, if you will, are in place for a reason. It's to keep this fucking slackers out. It's to keep the people who aren't going to actually get it done from getting it done, so that other people can get shit done. There's no I don't feel bad for people who are like, oh, I just couldn't get my songwriting thing off the ground or my band off the ground. It's like, well,
what did you do for yourself? Yeah.
Here's a guy standing right next to you who did exactly what you said you couldn't do. And you guys are the same person, the same background, same whatever. And I don't want to deny that certain people, come from privilege that allows them to be able to pursue things and have parents or communities that support them, and some people don't. And those are environmental restrictions that that can maim or kill a person's ambition. But I don't know. I still feel like the drive is really what makes all the other things come together. It's like the the canvas. And without that drive, I think you're never going to get anything to stick.
You can't do anything without drive, for sure. No.
Yeah.
In anything that you do.
Maybe that's the true root of talent, is that drive. Like, I don't know where that comes from.
I don't know either. I don't know either. It is odd.
I wonder that all the time. Like, where does that come from within myself? Or you, like, where is it something to prove, or is it like, going back to like when I was 8 years old or something, and like my older brothers were, didn't pay attention to me. So I wanted to prove to them that I could play their game, which was, sports, athletics. And so then you learn, I don't know, it's different for everybody. But I have thought about that. Like, where the fuck does your drive come from?
Yeah.
But you cannot, like, I know people that are really, really talented. And they're just like, they have absolutely no drive. And you see their partner that is like, okay, don't worry about it. I'll do your Instagram. I'll make your videos. I'll push for you. And then he's still not, 5 years later, the album's not done, It's like you can't force anybody into anything. Yeah. It's a shame.
It's funny because when Alex was talking about when you come from, a craftsman type family that maybe you have that inherent, love for the, woodworking or whatever. And it was making me think, like, my father was very much like the fix-it kind of guy. Not always the right way, but it worked when he was done.
Right.
But I'm not that person. So it's like making me think back, like, how did I get to where I am? Because he could fix a car, he could fix electrical, plumbing. He was kind of an all-around handyman kind of. I don't, I'm lucky if I know which side of the screwdriver to hold.
Yeah, but it sounds to me that you're like the all-around handyman in a different kind of way. Like how many podcasts you've done and networking you've just kind of transferred that energy into something that interests you. So you saw it, but you've just translated it into something else.
Definitely got my work ethic from him. That is no question.
Yeah.
But,
and that's pretty cool. Yeah.
So what are you guys planning post-apocalypse here? Are you guys looking to get
planning
back out
a
on
fucking show?
Yeah, we just want to play shows, man. Like that's really, really, really what we want to do. We're a live band. I mean, and
have you seen these
drive-in
shows?
Yeah. I have a friend in Germany who's in this really popular band.
I don't know how I feel about it.
He said they did like 4 of them, and he's like, it works. It's cool. People honk their horns at the end of the song and flash their lights and stuff. And
it's just so.
It's very weird.
It is very weird. I mean, and that's the thing. Like the world is going to be weird when we come out of it. Like we're going to have to. We're adjusting. We're shifting. Like that's what creatives do anyway. We have to shift and change with the times, but. There's no replacing, touching someone or crawling on someone or crowd surfing, a hug. Yeah.
Or even a high five. A high five would be great.
High five. I'll elbow someone.
Yeah.
Just, I don't care. Yeah, live shows in a drive-through or drive-in. Sorry, a drive-through show.
Drive-through concert? That'd be interesting. That's for the festivals.
Yeah.
It's just like I guess I can see like I don't know who are some like
Celine Dion.
Celine Dion, yeah, exactly. I'll see Celine Dion
I'll go see Celine Dion at a drive-in.
Yeah, but not Amyl and the Sniffers. Like I can't. No thanks. Yeah, or Jesus Lizard. Can you imagine seeing them at a drive-in? I would be driving my car up on stage.
Yeah.
That's a matter of time before one of those things goes south and someone else's car or something. It's gonna be stupid.
Great.
It's funny because like I was talking with, you're just talking about like hugs and high fives and whatnot. I went into a friend's restaurant the other day to get takeout. And she's like, "Hey, Andy, it's good to see you." And she's like, I thought she was like stretching her foot. She was holding her legs so weird. And I'm just like, "Do you have a calf cramp?" And she's like, "No, like touch my foot." Like that's like how we connect. And I'm like, "Oh God, are we down to touching feet?" I'm like, "This is so sad."
Oh, I don't want to touch anyone's feet because they're touching the dirty ground.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had shoes on. It's not like we're
no way. I believe everyone is just barefoot at this point.
And I was talking to another friend. I'm like, I honestly feel like at some point in 2021, we're gonna be hanging out and just be like, "Oh, hey, shit's back to normal." And it's gonna be so slow that I think it'll just be kind of things will kind of fall away and get a little more back to normal. I think. I mean, some people are like, "This is it. We're never going back to hugs and high five." I'm like, it'll come back.
Yeah, I think you're right. It'll come back. It'll just be slow.
I don't think that Yeah, I agree.
Nothing replaces a hug.
That's like a Hallmark card.
Broken Baby. Nothing replaces it.
And it's kind of ironic because you're sending them a card instead of a hug.
That'd be the best card ever.
That is great.
And inside is a picture of you hugging someone else.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, this was a lot of fun, guys. Where can our listeners go to check out your music online?
Well, let me think about it. Let's see. We're on Spotify, Tidal, Deezer, iTunes, Apple Music, BandCamp, SoundCloud, YouTube, Twitter, my mom's Instagram, our Instagram.
Your mom's Instagram?
Facebook. Yeah, she loves us.
Okay.
What else?
I think you covered
Did we cover every single platform? Because we're on
Google.com.
Google.com.
Just Google Broken Baby.
Yeah. BrokenBabyBaby.com.
Yeah, most of the stuff is like at Broken Baby Baby. Like that's our Facebook page. And but I mean, you don't have to go very far to find it, thankfully, which has been really good. That is good. You can find it on Spotify.
What's the best way to support the band? That should really be the question, because everyone knows about Spotify, but you get like 0.8 of a cent for every time someone listens to 1,200 downloads of your song or something. Like,
should we say it at the same time, Amber? 1, 2, 3. BandCamp.
So, BandCamp is the place to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's also where we sell our merch. We could probably do it on our own, like on our own website, so that, BandCamp doesn't take the revenue. But at the same time, like, we're supporting a community that supports the music community. Like, BandCamp is really supportive of the music community and eclectic music and different music. It's not just like obviously it's not top 40. It's weird shit that they're into.
There's some great like editorial sort of playlist that they put together that's like really, really cool, deep shit. Like, the fucking death metal scene in Copenhagen or whatever. Yeah. Or like, or a Hamlet outside of Berlin or something, I mean, they go deep. And, it's been really cool. And their staff is really knowledgeable, and they're excited about helping bands and creating a, digital community. I mean, look, it may all change. Pledge Music was like the best example early on of how bands could take the power back from record labels and have their fans enter into like a, almost like a profit sharing of the product with them. And then they, fucked everybody. So I'm always very suspicious. I think we all should be, but right now BandCamp is doing really cool stuff.
It's killing the game. And they're, I think they're doing another waiving of revenue share on June 5th.
Oh yeah.
Another one where you can buy anything off BandCamp and they won't take any revenue share, and all that money goes to the band.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's really great.
Yeah.
I always find
we should work for BandCamp.
I always find like those companies tend to suddenly change when they sell the company to someone else. That always seems to be the downfall. But no, this was a lot of fun, guys.
Thanks, Andy. It was nice to meet you.
Yeah, if you guys get out to the East Coast on your tour here, I'll have to check out a show if it's nearby.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. Free admittance for life.
For life.
You heard it here.
For life. Wow, okay. That's awesome. So hopefully our listeners will check you guys out. And as always, thanks, guys, for listening. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Thanks. You.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. You can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art, except for Instagram, we're at Inebri-art6. You can email us with your questions, complaints, and whatnot at Inebri-art@yahoo.com. And if you're looking for more podcasts, you can check out the other podcasts on our network, Retro Redoctopus, America's Hometown Horror, and, of course, Bar Talk, Old Colony, and Inebri-art Podcast, the original. So check those out and subscribe and comment so we can reach more people. And thanks for listening.